as the lights come on at Dillon Stadium for the first time in 2020. Optimism is growing that Hartford Athletic can compete for a playoff spot. The I-95 corridor, home to some of sports' best and most inherent rivalries. And in their way tonight, a Loudoun side galloping north from Virginia, a young side with a sky-high ceiling. Rivalries aren't formed in a year, but with tonight being the first of 4 meetings in 7 weeks, it may blossom in front of our eyes. The spotlight is on Group F. Hartford, Loudoun, kickoff right now. Welcome to the USL Championship on ESPN. From Connecticut, Dillon Stadium in Hartford, as Hartford Athletic ready to take on Loudoun United in front of a stadium with 25% capacity tonight. It'll amount to just shy of 1,500 fans as the USL restart continues. With Devin Kerr, Mike Watts on hand. Last year, Hartford struggled out of the gate, lost their first 8, all on the road, while this great stadium was being restored. And Devin, Jimmy Nielsen is let go at the end of the year. They bring in a great former Tunisian center back, Radi Jaidi, from Southampton.
World Cups in 2002 and 2006. And how about the 9 years in the Premier League, Mike? Bolton, Birmingham City, and Southampton. But it goes deeper than that. It's the guys that were around him from a coaching standpoint within his career. Ronald Koeman, former Dutch national team manager. How about Mark Hughes, global talent for Manchester United, former Wealth International as well. And of course, Mauricio Pochettino, the Argentine. All of these guys had a major impact on him. He's looking that translates to results within his own squad.
Let's go ahead of the curve and try and figure out the difference between what Jaidi brings and what Nielsen brought.
There's no right and there's no wrong, but it is going to be very different. Jimmy Nielsen, a bit more traditional in his ways. You start with a flat back four, spread the outside backs high, but where they really struggled was trying to stretch this game, looking for that dynamic piece going up top. Watch the stagnant moves. There's a collection here by Angulo as he drops back in, but no movement off the ball. Now they're rewarded with a free kick, but they get very lucky to go the other direction from a set piece opportunity. Translation to Red Bull under Jaidi. Here we go. Quick little press, and yes, they're flat on the back line, but that gives them the ability to explode with the wingbacks. Dixon drops down to the middle. We've slowed it down for you, but watch how quickly they're able to break down the very talented Red Bull organization, specifically the back four. Again, no goal, but their ability to stretch the outsides, push the pace up top, should translate to success. Now I say should because there are some very talented individuals from Loudoun United. Jeremy Garay, he's young, but he's ambitious. One of the most consistent players in the USL Championship last year, and this is what he's able to do. Small little passes, stretch the game, 95.5% passing accuracy against the Charleston Battery. He was over 93% on the season. He starts to get stuck in a little bit. You're going to be looking at a talent similar to the likes of Ozzie Alonso, former Charleston Battery, now Minnesota United man.
And he's 17 years old. He's part of a burgeoning academy that we're seeing really grow up in front of our eyes in Loudoun.
Pretty easy to look at this team, the run that they went last year, but they were really supplemented by teams and players specifically within the DC United organization. Academy players, guys that were homegrown contracts, they don't have that luxury. MLS is back down in the bubble, but Ryan Martin feels like they're going to be able to burst that bubble with all of the talent they've been able to nurture at such a young age.
So it's Loudoun United stampeding up I-95. Hartford does have fans in the stands tonight, be just shy of 1,500. First of 4 meetings this year. Let the chess match begin. Hartford, Loudoun, when we come back. Welcome back to the USL Championship on ESPN. Dillon Stadium in Hartford as Loudoun and Hartford Athletic prepared to meet here. Devin Kerr, Mike Watson, let's take a look at the Hartford Athletic lineup.
Having played recently, Mike, you're going to see some load management, and it'll start out on the wing. Gabriel Torres is going to get his debut for Hartford Athletic as Tyreek Johnson will take a seat. Nicky Downs will step in for Mats Jorgensen in the middle of the field. Danny Barrera will assume the 10. Back three stay the same. Mondonda stay the same. Guzman, Dixon, got to stay really active up top. Harry Swartz in that wing-back spot. Love what he's done in his second year. Let's move over to Ryan Martin's squad and what he's able to do with his band of misfit toys. Brandon Williamson in the middle of the field. Lovely talent coming out of Duke. His combination with Garay, who we showed you, with Michael Gamble, could be the key to this entire team moving forward and back. Farron on the left side. Jacob Green, watch him. He normally plays on the left, going the right back spot. Colin Miller will lead, but Pivo Due has to be very active to supply proper movement up top, down into the channel, and feed this attack regularly.
This is live. Dillon Stadium in Hartford, 25% capacity after 6 to 8 weeks of discussion between the Hartford city government, the state government, and the team itself. Finally, Hartford is back home. Exciting game ahead here. Hartford gave up a ton of goals last year. They feel they've shored that up, started with a clean sheet. Loudoun gave up a ton of goals, but in the second half of the season, they were scoring over 2 goals a game. They gave it as much as they took. Ready to go, underway. USL Championship on ESPN. Hartford in traditional Hartford colors, so to speak, Loudoun in red and white.
Based upon everything that we heard behind the scenes from the staff at Hartford Athletic, it was a bit warm there, so I'm feeling the white jerseys a bit more. But I've always been pretty impressed with everything coming out of the Hartford Athletic organization.
Maybe an early chance here for Loudoun United. Not a bad start for Massimo Farron in his pro debut.
They've got the guys, Mike, when it comes to the ages that can make that impact. And so you look at rookies coming onto the field. Some of them, though, like Garay, like Shane White, Lindegaard, as young as they are, you're looking at double-digit appearances at the professional level. So it's nice to get guys who haven't exactly shared this platform yet going early. Farron's one of them.
Down to Sorto. Led by Connor McGlynn. Swartz. This ball in behind. Gabby Torres deflects off of Jacob Green. Corner, Hartford.
Hartford will take a Bank of America corner kick.
This Hartford team, 16 on the roster, 24 years or younger. Playing their second in 3 games in a week to start. They defeated Red Bull at Red Bull Arena, goal to 0. Their first game back at the restart. The cross, there's an open header there, couldn't get under it. Dixon, the run out is on. Williamson. Devin, how valuable is having a game under your belt in the last 4 months for Hartford compared to Loudoun, who has not played since March?
You can kind of look at it from both ways. If the game was last week, I would say it's extremely valuable. Now, it's valuable no matter what because you're obviously playing. The problem for Hartford Athletic is they're just getting back to it as well, and they only played a few days ago. So we referenced the load management. How much can you really put your bodies through? That's going to be the difficult one. Any time that you've only been training and haven't had the ability to step on the game field, yeah, the advantage is always going to be to the other team.
Gabby Torres, good looking in swinging ball. Hartford scores. And they're off and running at Dillon Stadium. Kevin Politz was down on the goal line, may have got the steering touch. Athletic over Loudoun.
This is an area, Mike, that teams will struggle, whether you've had a game or not. Basically coming out of your second preseason, stagnant from set piece opportunities, double rotation to the near post. And look at all the white jerseys on the back post, Mike. Everybody standing, waiting for one of their players to step up and make a play. That's where you got to drop the shoulder, get stuck in, knock the ball out. Instead, Hartford Athletic off and running.
It did look like Politz had that slide off of him. And Hartford grabs the opening goal. Hapless no more, Devin. They talk so much, and we had a chance to speak with the chairman of the club in the lead up to this game. And you get the feeling they're trying to follow the Southampton way across the board. It's quite exciting.
You get that from some of the values that are behind the scenes, what they expect guys within the organization, facility specific, people coming to visit. How about playing style as well? How it translated across the pond. Ryan Martin knew that, though. I mean, talking about what this could look like, because the sample side for Hartford Athletic is only one game in. So you will have a very finite idea. And he said, you know, we did some video review. He and I shared a laugh about maybe wasting some time too much, how deep you can go on that. But he knew. He said, listen, we took a look at what he did with U23s and the entire Southampton organization. We know what's coming at us, but we can't necessarily stop all that. We got to worry about what we can control, and that's our performance.
Bruce Mandel spent time in England last year. Maybe trouble here. Guzman all the way up to Colin Miller. It was his time in Southampton that really blew him away. How about Nicky Downs sprinting forward on this 90-plus degree night in Connecticut? McGlynn. There's space out here. Swartz. Free kick, Hartford. Devin, that conversation with Bruce Mandel, wide-ranging about their goals and ambitions as an organization on and off the field, and especially the youth development that they think can be the future of not only this organization, but it has to be a future for American soccer.
I'll give him this. He was honest, right?
Yeah.
Not necessarily shooting from the hip. It was definitely calculated in his response, but a bit more open than we're used to. Kudos to that.
You can hear it in his voice, and he goes, I'm sorry, I'm just very...
There's passion there, for
very
sure.
passionate about this.
He knows there's a long journey, though.
It's Danny Barrera. Barrera chips, back post. Off the clearance, there was a foul from Alex Davey, the massive English center back.
That's one of the things you have to be careful of, Mike, when you do have an organization that is bought in to what you believe in. You still have to go get results, right? Because we heard so many wondrous things in 2019 about what they thought they were capable of, things they had done. And now that maybe that course has changed just a little bit, love the passion, love the drive. And I like the ideas that are coming, not just from the front off, but from the coaching staff, the players that they brought in. But at the end of the day, still got to go get results. Started strong on the road against Red Bull 2, and they have an opportunity right now, back-to-back home games, to really set a nice precedent for this organization that you haven't seen before. And mind you, also keep pace with somebody else named Pittsburgh Riverhounds, who have put together a couple wins. Keep a top Group F.
Bob Lilly told us that group is more complex than people think, and Hartford might be at the heart of that conversation right now. Miller was under pressure and put it out for a corner. An early goal in the 4th minute from Kevin Politz. Barrera Davey! Miller yanks it down, the former Providence Friar.
Mike, look at the pressure. Here's exactly what I was talking about. Totally different than what we saw in the system under Jimmy Nielsen. Again, there's no right or wrong here. It's just a way about going about things. And all the pressure that they're applying is really rewarding them in multiple areas. One of them is these set pieces that have come, including the strike outside the box. You've got 4 inside of 10 minutes. Everybody marked up, ball turns over. You do wonder how long you can maintain that pace, though. That's one thing you have to be careful of. The war of attrition will start to come in as these kilometers tick away. The clock continues to pile up.
Bouncing up, and Parfait Mandanda, 30-year-old Frenchman, pulls it in. And in these temperatures, and coming off a 4-month layoff, that's a big ask for you as a player. Your role as a center back, you're expected to go 90 minutes. With 5 subs, at least half the field players will get a chance. This is a foul. Hopefully Williamson popped immediately back to his feet.
Jaidi on the sideline, furious. Felt like it was a good tackle, and he does make contact with the ball. The problem was you lead studs up. Regardless of if there is a touch or not, you're always going to be at the forefront of the referee's thought process. Still going at him. It's not a foul. There's your world-class center back having a chat. Got to dig in early. You get what you want.
Great move by Sorto. Sorto all the way across the face of goal and out the other side. Had Farron driving in, former Syracuse star. We talk about how hard it is to be a double-double player at the pro level in the USL Championship. He closed in on that, didn't reach it in 20 games at Syracuse last year. Good step to win high up the field. Dixon plays it down the line. Guzman and Barrera making runs into the area. There's the cross. Barrera spears it high. Hartford through 10 minutes. They said they wanted to be on the front foot. We have absolutely seen it.
The good news is when they're transitioning, Mike, it's an entire unit that's making a collective effort here. So even though there's a press by 2-3 guys, Harry Swartz serving this into the danger area, there's some quality movement in behind so that if they're not able to connect in the box, just as we saw, they've already got the high line. Makes it that much more difficult for Loudoun to play out of the back, and we're seeing that. Whether it's 1v1 pressuring or they're forcing him to play that long ball over the top, it's very easy for Jaidi's boys right now to just collect it, go side to side, and really play the game that they want to.
There is Roddy Jaidi. Really, the conversation that he had, because the story of him coming to Hartford was international news, so the BBC covered it, this was his opportunity to coach a first team, a senior level pro team, which he had not had while he was at Southampton completing his pro license. We talk with the organization, they view him as an aspirational figure in the sense that the resume is there. He could go be a manager at the very highest levels, and this is the first building block in that direction. Won by Paulitz, the former Greenville Triumph player under John Harkes. He had the opening goal back in the 4th minute. Greenville opened up the USL League 1 season over the weekend at Fort Lauderdale, that new stadium that Inter Miami begin their franchise in once they leave the bubble. Barrera nearly swept that away. Christian Sorto. Green. White. Garay. Since 1947, Select has been the leader in soccer ball quality and innovation. Select, the official ball supplier of the USL Championship, many of the elite leagues throughout Europe. For the latest Select products and special offers, visit selectsportamerica.com. Set piece won by Loudoun.
Let's see how this looks on the other side of the field with Loudoun United struggling on the Greenville corner that led to the goal. Taste of their own medicine, possibly. They don't have the luxury, the visitors, of as much height as Hartford Athletic do. You do have Elvis Amo up top, wearing the 7 jersey. He's in the middle of the crowd right now at the top of the 18.
Amo 6'2", White is 6'3". And they're looking for White. Play that back. Shane White turning 25 years old yesterday. A happy belated birthday to Shane. Actually debuted at Hartford back on September 7th last year. It was a 5-1 loss. We were asking about all the protocols that are involved in travel. And Ryan Martin, the second-year head coach for Loudoun United, said compared to last year's trip to Hartford, this was smooth sailing. They got lost in New York City on the bus ride up. It took them 10 hours to get from D.C. up to Hartford.
That was one of the more interesting stories we've heard in terms of travel issues. How about when he went a bit further and he said, listen, having to deal with all the circumstances in front of us, wearing masks and putting on hand sanitizers the cakewalk. I was like, okay, that's interesting.
McGlynn. Dixon. Turned it over to Williamson. Pride of Duke and John Kerr Sr. Farron. Farron. Quarter of an hour in the book. Kevin Politz scored in the 4th minute. Connecticut native, raised in Marlborough, New Jersey. Hartford ahead of Loudoun in their first home game of the restart. We're happy to see Mad Hat Massive and the Hartford supporters back in the stands. Loudoun's head coach Ryan Martin named the coach May 30th last year after Richie Williams left to become an assistant to Bruce Arena in New England. A former assistant coach at FC Cincinnati to John Harkes was named the DC United Academy Director in January of 2017. Dev, you talk about the synergy there. Dave Casper and Stu Mayers and Ben Olsen, the conversations they have, because players like Griffin Yao and Moses Nyman, there is a clear pathway through Loudoun leading right to Audi Field.
I was quite taken by not just that part, Mike, but their ability to recognize what's best for these people as individuals, not just as players.
Driven ball easily handled.
What does this look like for them if the experiment in the academy doesn't necessarily lead them to either Loudoun or DC United right away? Okay, so now we pump them into the collegiate system because there is so much value there. Ryan Martin agrees as well. So what's the best route for them? Do we keep them here? Do we push them into a Clemson, a Syracuse, wherever it may be? You know, they want to make sure that they're continuing to not only maintain the relationships that are in place, but continue to cultivate what's best for the player as a professional moving forward. And that could be the college route, and it could be going pro right away.
Jacob Green here, who is committed to Maryland. Adam Lundegaard, the 16-year-old in the back, committed to Clemson.
Now you're starting to see some of that technical ability on full display. They settled themselves down. Unfortunately, they gave up the early goal. Jimmy Gray's on the ball. Usher this side to side. In order to get around this press that comes at you, got to break that initial line of confrontation. Sometimes it's a nice little ball coming out of your holding midfielder. Other times it's going to be a long one over the top, a little hold-up play. But once you do get by it, then Hartford Athletic will start to scramble, and they'll start to chase a little bit. The disarray is where you're going to find them the most vulnerable. The problem is that they've become pretty comfortable in this system already.
Gamble. Loudoun last year became one of the most exciting teams in the championship to watch. Wide array of young talent. Back end of last season, they scored 49 goals in the 25 games that Ryan Martin managed. Opened to Segra Field in Leesburg, Virginia, Loudoun County. $15 million, 5,000-seat stadium. Good ball in for Dixon, out of his reach, and Colin Miller has that pop out.
How high the line is, Mike. 1, 2, 3, 7 players. Quick little step back in the back line from Hartford Athletic. Watch out.
Mandronda. There's a foul as Mandronda went to ground. Amo just continued to power through.
Sometimes as an attacker, you have to question as, although you can, should you? And this is one of those times, right? I could, I should, little step out. Feels like he's got the pace to get there, follow through. Lucky if he doesn't end up in the book here. Look at the extended boot right through on Mandanda.
Parfait Mandanda, his brother Steve, 5-time goalkeeper of the year in France. Member of that 2018 World Cup title winning team. By Silva at midfield, but now down to Williamson. Douay starting things up the left-hand side. Amo leaves it off. A little bit of a stunted gait from Farron. Play will come back.
He's offside there for sure.
Don't miss a minute of action in 2020. Sign up today. Get alerts all year long by following your club on ESPN.com. Search for your team, then click the follow button to keep up with the latest news and scores. Plus, get reminders on your team's next match. Go to ESPN.com now. Click follow for your club.
Watch the way this Loudoun team continues to react here, Mike, as you have a team that's so young. When they go down early like this on the road, and you're looking to breed some confidence into them, 1-2 passes here and there, what you will get in certain situations is almost players that are overexcited. You complete that one pass, you start to step out a little bit, you're not pinned in your own zone, and you almost forget to do the easy things, right? That was a good look. Quick little 1-2 outside the 18. All you have to do is hold your run. Simple enough. Instead, you venture in an offside position, turn it right back over to Hartford Athletic.
5 Loudoun starters age 20 or younger tonight. Barrera. Solid ball, winds back out. Dixon. Dixon searching for Barrera out the other side to Williamson. Dixon, Barrera, holdovers from the previous administration. Jimmy Nielsen did put together a solid team. But He said it, Devin, from the very beginning last year. 8 games on the road to start, and then he saw who the 8 games were.
Yeah.
He made a few phone calls. Nice dicing ball. Sorto curling off target.
All due respect to our friends at the league, didn't do himself any favors, do they?
No.
You're Hartford Athletic. You're playing your Red Bulls, your Pittsburghs, your Louisvilles. Odds stacked against you. This is better, though. Good hold-up play from Amo up top, drops down in. One of the changes you would like to see is a bit more explosion from Farron, or even Michael Gamble stepping in behind Amo, and that's some of the interchange. Again, you get rattled early on. You're just looking to start to build. And as the game goes, you can progress throughout. But look to the constants. Look to guys like Jeremy Garay. And Brandon Williamson, I understand that he's a rookie, really consistent on the ball. John Kerr Jr. and the program he's built at Duke put a lot of trust in him at a young age. Saw him starting his sophomore year and understands what he needs to fulfill in the middle of the park. Pretty consistent.
Could he possibly be onside? Gamble! A gamble from Mandanda to deny him. Came off his line expertly. Gamble once again. Williamson. McGlynn drives it away. Net still unbreached for Hartford. Team that last year gave up 80 goals in 34 games, most in the championship. Barrera. Pollitt's the goal scorer back in the 4th. Barrera pinged it back. Guzman. The foul.
Mike, this is one of the better sequences we've seen out of Loudoun United just moments ago. Build up starting all the way at midfield. There's Williamson. Actually bounces off the hands of our goal scorer Politz, and then you go the other way. Quick little 1-2. These players are so very technical, Ryan Martin's squad. And sometimes they just need that little glimmer of hope to light a fire underneath them, get back on track.
See the sun pouring in. Mandanda's the one who's going to have to deal with that. Long shadows nearing the Connecticut sunset. The ball wound over the top. '27th minute, USL Championship on ESPN comes to Hartford, Connecticut. Two teams in year 2. Neither made the playoffs a year ago. Loudoun, tremendous group of talent, really turned it around at the end of last season. Finished just 4 points behind Birmingham for the 10th and final spot in the playoffs, with 4 wins in a row to close out the regular season. Hartford started poorly and really started to look the part of a more sound side as the year went along. First win came in the Open Cup. First win in the league came in match day 11. And this year with a new coach who's played multiple World Cups and the African Cup of Nations 5 times, they have new and heightened expectation. Ball at the byline, good couple of cuts, and then McGlynn helps to knock it away.
That's where Brandon Williamson has to start to evolve as a professional. Gray sitting back behind him. When your one attacking midfielder goes and that space opens up, you have the luxury, because of how deep Hartford Athletic is, to gamble a little bit there, step in behind Michael, go to the top of the 18 so that when he gets to the byline, he can knock this all the way back. The only options he had were the 3 guys inside the box, 2 standing on the back post.
Off the bounce, Pollitt's fouled. Devin, we've talked about it since the league kicked off again a couple of weeks ago. Just over a week ago, come to think of it.
It's been a long 8 days.
It sure has.
I'm with you.
But 8 regionalized groups. These 2 teams will meet 4 times. It's a 16-game, 13-week season. So a team like Pittsburgh has had 2 massive wins against Philadelphia Union 2 at home, dropped 6 goals on them. Then you've got the 3-1 win against Louisville when they opened Lynn Family Stadium, that magnificent $65 million structure in Kentucky. So they're top of Group F. What do you make of the rest of this group? Hartford, Loudoun, Philadelphia 2, Red Bull 2.
Initial review is it's an easy pennant, right? It's Pittsburgh Riverhounds and New York Red Bull 2. But you forget in your thought process that you don't have the luxury of receiving a lot of the players on loan within your organization. So I'm specifically referencing Philadelphia Union 2, New York Red Bull 2, and Loudoun with their affiliation with DC United. You're looking at teams that don't have that option because all of those players are in the bubble and MLS's back. So you're looking at academy players. You're looking at a lot younger crowd with not as much experience. Enter Hartford Athletic. Although they're in their inaugural season for this group, second year as a club, they've still got experience as professionals, not 15, 16, 17-year-olds who are just stepping on the pitch for a handful of times. So I tend to venture towards Hartford Athletic. I still think the Riverhounds reign supreme in Group F, though.
Busy weekend in the USL Championship, and we'll try and wrap some of that up as we go on here. Pushed ahead for Dixon, sprinting onto the Torres ball. It's Colin Miller.
I'll give Jaidi credit. He's stayed true to his word so far. Came out flying, high tempo, a lot of press going on. Notice how they've tapered that a little bit, start to drop off. And it's not necessarily backing off the game. They're just allowing the game in front of them to progress. And most of it's going side to side. Now, we've seen some glimpses from Loudoun United to open things up, but it's not necessarily a free-flowing type performance.
Temperatures in the low 90s at kickoff. We will have a hydration break in Hartford. Here's your goal scorer, former Red Bull youth, New Haven, Connecticut native. So 1-0 here to Hartford as they try and draw a level and behind on goal difference alone in Group F with Pittsburgh. Let's take a look at what happened over the weekend. Of course, Hartford playing in short order. That Louisville-St. Louis score raised some eyebrows?
It did. I didn't see him losing back-to-back games. I didn't see him losing back-to-back games at the newly opened Lynn Family Stadium. Credit to Steve Tritchu, they're able to grab one. Sacramento Republic Reno last night was interesting. You and I had the luxury to be in on that one, and it wasn't a tale of two halves by any means. Mark Briggs' team was better. Ian Russell's team is transitioning into a different system that they're struggling to really grasp a full composition of. Bob Lilly's squad on the road, Philadelphia Union 2, we just talked about that. A lot more inexperience for Union 2. Tacoma Defiance seem to just keep bagging goals, and this time they're able to keep the 0. Portland Timbers 2, on the other hand, that's not the start you want, especially in that Cascadia rivalry.
Saw Pittsburgh, that big win in this group, and Alan Koch's side grabbed 3 goals and draw the reigning champion of the USL Championship, Real Monarchs. Good things happening in Colorado Springs, I think. Steve Tritchu exits. They bring in Alan Koch, former coach of the year. They've got a new venue that they're building downtown. be a real game changer for that franchise moving forward.
Reminder, they were down to 10 men, 2 goals inside of 7 minutes to close it out. It's not a good look if you're the reigning champs.
Nice step inside here for Loudoun. And the cross toward Amo. Dewey wears the captain's armband for this Loudoun side. Most experienced player on the field in white and red. Second ball hoovered up by Farron. Gamble. Sorto. Gamble. Dev, you do see those little interchanges that Loudoun was so impressive with at the end of last year. It's not the long ball that usually scores them goals at a 2-goal-a-game clip in the back half of last year.
Some of those right now could do them some justice, though, to really separate themselves from Hartford Athletic as they start to compress themselves on the defensive side of the ball, Mike. You just saw one there, 40, 50-yard ball, switching field. Now everybody has to start to shift over, your own players included, but it opens up space, and your thought process starts to change. You get a better idea of, okay, if I start to motion this way, how's he going to react? And that's when you start to get a player and a squad second guessing. Right now, Loudoun's being pretty predictable. They're pretty much staying on the left-hand side, and when they do come down the right, it's coming pretty much around the back line. They're not really going through the middle of the midfield. Brandon Williamson, Gamble not on the ball a lot. They stay south, come all the way back over. Really like to see that midfield 3 play a higher line. Now Gray's gonna stay deep, and I understand that, but Williamson and Gamble gotta get on the same page to try and find a way to really eclipse that front 5.
Mateo Silva down after this aerial duel with Amo.
The argument would be that he bridged him. I didn't really see that there, though. He doesn't bend his back, doesn't shift his footing. Here's the problem. It's his 3rd offense this half. So you've pretty much been warned enough times that anything else and you're going to end up in the book.
Amo's got big shoes to fill, too. Kyle Murphy,
literally
13 goals last year.
15 foot.
Who?
Oh, something like that. Where's the big boot? Yeah, as you said, Kyle Murphy takes off. Tampa Bay Rowdies now.
Yeah, come to think of it, you can see the, yeah. Wearing yellow shoes only highlights the fact.
Gave it away a little bit. I thought we discussed our eye test in the offseason. Didn't go get that done, huh?
No.
Okay. Here's the other question you're going to have if you're Ryan Martin for your squad. There's a better look.
And they're good boots too.
Nice hypervenoms. Don't mind if you do. Little Vermilion on the bottom. Heat map. He's wearing studs too. Oof. Just watch the step when they are turning this over. We'll give them a sec. They're high up, but they're not quick to press. At the same point in time, you've got 3 white jerseys standing around 4 athletic players. They start to play, they come to the near touchline, and then you start chasing. It's very reactive, and it's a weird response as well. And Ryan Martin, his coaching staff on the sideline, is chatting to them about that, because if they're gonna be that high and you're in the area, apply a bit more pressure than what's going on. Otherwise, you're just giving them the luxury to set you up to fail. You're basically saying, come play at us, and oh, by the way, once you play that first ball, then I'll start chasing you.
Silva out of the back. Dead by Torres. High bounce off the turf. Ever Guzman is in pursuit. Guzman, really a remarkable youth talent. Something to keep in mind. It really didn't go his way at Morelia League MX. He's part of a Copa MX winning team in 2013. Ultimately was loaned 6 times. Comes to San Antonio, 23 goals in 3 seasons. But really, Ever Guzman's best experience wasn't at the club level. It was as a Mexican youth international. Think back to the U17 World Cup final in 2005 that Mexico won. Vela scored the game-winning goal, but Guzman, second leading scorer in that World Cup. He's 99 in green and blue.
It's not bad company to be in, is it?
No. Ever Guzman, 32 years old now. They say he can score in bunches in San Antonio. They hope that's the case in Hartford. And it's interesting, Devin, because I was asking the coaching staff, Roddy Jaidi goes, if there's one person for America to really look for in this reintroduction to Hartford Athletic, he said you have to watch Ever Guzman. That said, he said it's hard to pick one. Ultimately, you're looking at the new Hartford Athletic. So far, the new Hartford Athletic leads for their second time in 2 games. They sealed the first. Hope to do so again tonight.
Pretty impressive how they've been able to maintain possession in some pretty difficult areas. Good look there, ball up over the top. Go one direction, pull it back, reset. A lot more confidence. Good look at a one-on-one, and watch them now. Quick little swarm, everybody buying in, maintaining the zone at the same point in time, challenging each other when they get into those isolated situations. And they're not really giving up that crucial ball. If they are being broken down, it's a little 5-6 yard ball here and there. Goes back to what you and I were talking about before, where maybe someone from Loudoun can step up and start to ping something around with a bit more pace and go after one of those explosive movements. Look at the space that they're starting to open up for each other. Really impressive movement both on and off the ball.
Pereira felt hard done. He had made a good cutting run. Now he's got the ball. Danny Pereira crossing at Colin Miller. Pereira, the former Sacramento captain out of UC Santa Barbara. In his now 10th year as a pro.
You hate to harp on it again, Mike, but Gamble steps up. Amo's got his left shoulder, but Sorto, after he plays the ball, doesn't continue the run. So that near-sided ball that's 5-6 yards, they just play it, and then Athletic is out of it once again. Just follow the pass, whether you make it or not. You have enough energy at this point in time in the game, and that's the little things that Ryan Martin is going to address at halftime to see if he can get these youngsters back on track.
USL Championships return continues. Potential playoff preview Wednesday, July 22nd on ESPN2. 2 traditional Eastern Conference powers. Pittsburgh taking on Indy 11. Struck by Amo, well over. So Devin, Pittsburgh, Indy on Wednesday, 6 p.m. Eastern on ESPN2. Not hard to get excited for that game. I mean, you're talking, some people would take those 2 against the field in the conference right now.
There's a couple of those theories floating around right now, aren't there?
Yeah, I saw that. Twitter's a funny place.
Yeah, it's to each their own.
Turned over. It's a poor mistake by Hartford, but they're off the hook. Amo couldn't pirouette over the ball.
There's number 5. And there's the card. It's got to be.
Amo's going to go into the book as Mateo Silva remains down.
Everybody at home is kind of going, what, he didn't really get stuck in that hard, but when you're a continued persistent problem up top, he's gone after the goalkeeper, pretty much every player on the back line this time. Mateo Silva has that good fortune. You're only going to be given so much rope. And the next thing you know, referee rewards you, yellow card.
Numbers pushed forward in the 44th minute. Mandronda left goal initially to knock that downfield. Won by Sorto. Carried up by Gray. Green, Amo, off the high bounce, Amo goes down, and now barking back for a foul that he won't receive. Williamson elevated his right cleat. Let's take another look here as Amo had done well to get by Silva.
Good or bad, he seems to be involved on pretty much every play right now. Nice little turn, cut back inside. There's a late little clip on the backside of him, isn't there? From Mateo Silva. It's hard when there's three bodies clashing up like that, Mike, in traffic to really see it. In initial review, you kind of nod your head a little bit, and is there? And if we have...
Oh, well done by Barrera! Into side netting, Harry Swartz! Hartford doubles the lead shortly before the half.
The pride of Northeastern, coming out as a rookie last year, was the only player invited to the MLS Combine from the Colonial Athletic Association, and this is one of the reasons why. So versatile, but explosive. Low center of gravity, watch him slip right in behind. High IQ, knows exactly where this ball is gonna go, and understands that if there's one player on the field that can put it there, it's Danny Barrera. Near post covered, far post touch. Harry Swartz has shown us time and time again that he is here as a professional to stay.
5 goals at Northeastern, period. 4 last year for Hartford. That's his 5th career professional goal.
And the words you heard from Jimmy Nielsen or Jaidi were almost exactly the same. You ask where's the best position for him on the field. You ask where he needs to continue his evolution as a player. Their response, extremely versatile, can play anywhere he wants, he'll find his way. Plain and simple.
Harry Swartz came in on a 3 or 4 day trial, and Jimmy Nielsen told us at the time, okay, this is good, but let's see it for a little longer. Then it was 10 days more. Eventually they signed him out of the Boston Bolts youth setup up in Massachusetts. They talk about him being an absolute grinder, the kind of guy you have to say, hey, pull the reins back a little bit in practice, save some for the game.
The conversations every week were kind of like that as well, and their squad was pretty banged up last year outside of being on the road regularly and away from home. And you would kind of look at the team sheet from the week before and go, Harry Swartz at right back? Okay. Harry Swartz at the 9, okay. Moved him into holding midfielder spot. Let's move him out to the 11. But he's capable. Got the job done every single time. He also knows his limits, Mike. He recognizes where his ceiling is in certain areas of the field, but when he's at his best, that was a pretty good look. Quick little change of pace and direction, go the other way, give him an opportunity to make a play, he'll do it.
Well, story here in Hartford. Fairly impressive one as we close in on halftime. Coming up, we'll take a look at news and notes from around the league, our upcoming schedule on ESPN2 and ESPN Deportes, first half highlights, and more. Dixon, wonderfully textured ball. Guzman lays it off. Across now, Torres. Torres slices back, misses Guzman. That might be the right note to leave off with at halftime. We asked what this national TV audience was going to see out of Hartford, and as if the head coach knew something we didn't know, he said a new Hartford Athletic. They're up 2-0 at the break.
Lord only knows what's going to come out in the second half. What a start from the home squad. Intent, proper purpose, understanding of their environment. Ryan Martin, on the other hand, they've got some work to do. They have got to find a way to get back at it. They've been chasing the entire match, almost too simplistic. We'll break it down for you at halftime.
Their first game back after a 4-month layoff, and Loudoun on the road dealing with this impressive Hartford start. They score in the 4th minute, again in the 45th, and Hartford Athletic lead at halftime, 2-0. News and notes from around the league and more coming up. USL is proud to bring professional soccer back into our communities and across the ESPN family of networks. Follow your local club and don't miss these exciting matches coming up on ESPN2 or ESPN Deportes. Pittsburgh and Indy coming up on Wednesday night. Devin, it's our old Wednesday night soccer slot. We're back.
I'm ready. So are the head coaches. Martin Rennie, Bob Lilly, attack, defend, repeat. We'll see you on Wednesday.
Yeah, real exciting matchup from Highmark Stadium alongside the Monongahela River in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Here in Connecticut, Hartford 2, Loudoun 0. We'll show you news and notes from around the league when we come back. Welcome back to Dillon Stadium. Enjoying the halftime entertainment. It's 2-0 to Hartford over Loudoun. Let's take a look at some news and notes from around the USL Championship as we gear up for another week in the return to play. Landon Donovan's San Diego Loyal side tagged with their first loss last night on ESPN Deportes to LA Galaxy 2. They have a 15,000-seat stadium in the plans as well.
Still sitting atop the group right there. They're at the pecking order, and they get a stadium. The rich get richer. How many teams around this league are doing such wondrous things within the community, building stadiums, taking things that are already there, making it their own? Indy 11, that is right now the best team in the USL Championship. No ifs, ands, or buts.
And, of course, they play on Wednesday night against Pittsburgh, 6 p.m. Eastern Time kickoff from Highmark on ESPN2. Let's show you what the rest of our linear schedule looks like for now. On Wednesday, Pittsburgh and Indy, St. Louis and Indy meet on ESPN Deportes.
How about that St. Louis Indy matchup? That first game they played, it was 2-0 Indy 11 at Indy. Watch how that script flips around this time around, because St. Louis back home, Toyota, it's a totally another market, whole nother feel. Look at St. Louis, how they're feeling about that match.
Yeah, excited to see Jesus Acosta and Jose Rodriguez on the call for that one Sunday on ESPN Deportes. We're only halfway home here. Hartford scored in the 4th, again in the 45th. We'll show you how they did it when we return to the USL Championship on ESPN. Gabby Torres, good looking. Can't ask for much better than that. Beautiful overhead, and the lights are on at Dillon Stadium in Connecticut. Hartford over Loudoun, 2-0. Let's take a look at first half highlights, Devin. Hartford fast and furious.
Kevin Pollitt's 3rd minute, why not? Set piece opportunity, especially when teams have not had the chance to be on the field. You know, Loudoun United coming back, first game back since the stoppage of play resumption. Yeah, it's not a good start here. Nice little stunt run to the near post. Everybody in a white jersey left standing. So you start to look around, okay, how do you grow into this? There's a nice little 1-2 step here. Mo drops in, watch Gamble. Back in 9, might been offside, does not matter. Silva looks to the sideline. Don't look at the AR, look at your run. Track him down, too much pace, can't slip it in behind. Another phenomenal save by Madonda, by the way. He's been great in the 2 games we've seen him so far. And let's add insult to injury. Harry Swartz, so many times last year. Explosion of pace, bottom corner, 2-0. Hartford Athletic, you owned the opening 45 minutes.
Harry Swartz, 4 goals a year ago. And as they say at USL headquarters, the Needham Rocket delivers. Here are your halftime stats. Loudoun did possess the ball a decent amount, but really Hartford was the one who got the best opportunities.
Loudoun got themselves to a point, Mike, where they gained the confidence and they were doing the simple things. But now it's time to get away from that. You need to find a way to be explosive. We saw it at the end of 2019. Get out of that linear thought process, because right now it's too many of the little balls, and they're not really challenging the back line of Hartford Athletic or even the wings enough. You have a very talented midfield. Find a way to start to put all of this together, because the talent's there, just lacking a bit of execution.
There will be changes here at halftime. And Hartford is going to dip into their bench. Tyreek Johnson in the middle of your screen, on loan from Southampton. Arthur Rogers set to come on as well. Downs and Guzman out for Hartford. And Ted Coup DePietro, 18-year-old for Loudoun, will make his way on. Meanwhile, across the country, healthcare heroes working every day on the front lines of the fight against COVID-19. The crowd applauding shortly before this second half began for the healthcare heroes. And in the case of Hartford Athletic, their thoughts with those working with Trinity Health of New England. Their jersey sponsors and a major component of how they've gone about their protocols and their plans, as well as their testing procedures as they resume play in the USL Championship. Underway in this second half. Hartford ahead, and Loudoun looking for an early chance to change the momentum. It's Williamson. Douay. Swartz. Under pressure from Coup DePietro.
Number 17. Replacing number 60. Jonathan Manel.
Slide in from Swartz into Coup DePietro. There's a little Bob Shepard in this public address announcer, by the way. Number 17, Coup DePietro, number 17.
The homage to the old ways. I'll take it.
Northeast has some of the great public address announcers of all time. John Condon, famous at the Garden. Say Mike Wojcicki is as well. Current PA announcer for the Knicks, Bob Shepard, all-timer.
Oh, well done there. Play it, though. Release. There you go. Now just keep it coming. Bring it all the way back across. Look at all the space over here, Mike.
Coup DePietro plays it wide. Douay. Spilled by Mandronda. Coup DePietro. And this time they'll keep it away from Mandanda.
It's much better from Loudoun United. Good start here. Now just keep it in front of you. They've overexposed themselves just a bit, and Hartford Athletic not necessarily showing the interest that they want to go with as much pace to start the second as we saw in the opening 45.
Davey. Swartz. Swartz. McGlynn. Barrera. Cross lifted towards Swartz and away by Dewey. Nothing Hartford. Was one of the largest cities in America without a pro sports franchise. That's finally changed. The early days, that 8-game road swing, as this stadium was being completed, fans were watch parties peering through windows because there was no room in the bar. This was the old home of the Connecticut Bicentennials that had some major names on those teams. Service lifted. Spent some time with Janusz Mihalik, who works with ESPN FC, and talked a little bit about the history of this stadium, and really it's breathtaking when you think back to the old days, and what they've been able to bring back here. $14 million renovation, new turf, reset the stands, plans to continue to add some improvements along the way.
It's pretty easy sometimes to just wipe an entire slate clean. There's some dirty pennies out there. You just shine them up, throw in some interesting announcers, if you will, and some new lights. Get it right back to normal.
All the way down the line, Dixon toward Johnson, heads it down, excellent save, Miller. Simply terrific to deny the Southampton loanee.
First you're admiring the ball down into the corner. Then it's the second ball back across to Tyreek Johnson. Watch Johnson even be able to get on the end of this. Alex Dixon has Harry Swartz on the back post. Loudoun United recognized it, but he just knocks this little dink, and Johnson able to go to the near post. Colin Miller, this is a massive ask out of the goalkeeper. How he redirects back across and gets that big 6'3" frame all the way over to his right shoulder, and then to get down to the ground, Mike. Watch how low he gets. Textbook and absolute perfection.
Johnson trying to keep the attack going there for Hartford off the press. Now that may tickle someone's fancy, deciding the top 10 tonight. And in doing so, he denied a player who played in the Premier League 2 years ago against Arsenal. Tyreek Johnson trying to revive his career here. They felt like this was the right time for him to step away, come to Hartford, rebuild some confidence, some value. Still only 21.
You've been with an organization from your youth career on a first-team contract since 2014, and only one league appearance to show for it. That gives you an idea of, you know, maybe we just haven't taken the proper steps. If you had to be critical right now, Mike, 53rd minute, the only area that you could really press down on and say they need to be better here, both in the match against Red Bull 2 and so far against Loudoun, is distribution from the goalkeeping position for Hartford Athletic. He's been great back there, reading the game, coming off his line. But I just wasn't overly impressed him playing out of the back. Madonda, saw it a second ago. When you watch him try and knock these long balls, a lot of times it's just hit with a hope and a prayer, and hoping one of his players can run up underneath it and make a play. need to be a bit more calculated, especially when they spread themselves out so thin. You do have the options. That's one where you need to go back to your youth days and just take a quick little look. A lot of these guys don't start as goalkeepers when they're 9 years old. You know, if you did, we got to have a conversation. Number one. But just have a quick little look up. What's in front of you? What's to my right? What's to my left? Do I have an attacker coming at me? Can I take an extra touch on the ball and then play it? Because they were giving too many balls away and allowing their opposition to just collect and come right back at them.
Mandanda had the game-winning assist against Red Bull by thumping a ball 90 yards. When Red Bull gets across half field and goalkeeper starts to push up, the world's a little different there. Injured player behind the play is Lundegaard. Loudoun will complete the attack, though. Step by. Di Pietro. And now Tyreek Johnson. Johnson steps, shoots, scores! Brilliant finish. They'll hear about that in Southampton.
Perfect example, Mike. You're looking at a player who has seen the highest level right up against Adam Lundegaard, who is just knocking on the door of his collegiate career, committed to Clemson University. Mike Noonan has got some work to do. Watch this. Do not let him make a move to the weak side. You cannot allow this play to cut back inside. You hang yourself out to dry. More importantly, you put your team and your goalkeeper in a really bad spot. Tyreek Johnson sees the positioning. He gets this either way he goes. Flat-footed from the center back. He gets the pick of the litter. Hartford gets 3.
And with that, Tyreek Johnson's Hartford athletic career very much underway. Phenomenal goal. Ball launched forward, maybe a chance to hit this. Di Pietro. Spoke with Bruce Mandel, the chairman of Hartford Athletic. We got a chance to speak with the coaching staff in the lead up to it and some of the communication staff. And whether it was Roddy Jaidi, there's Bruce Mandel, there's John in the PR office. Big things to say about Tyreek Johnson.
I'm not taking anything away from the finish, by the way. It's much easier to sit and go, look at everything that went wrong in this play for Loudoun, as they are now a hat trick away from evening this thing back up. You still got to execute, right? Tyreek Johnson, nice step over, far post finish.
Mo, long winding run, penalty. Alex Davey pushes down Mo. Loudoun given a lifeline.
Davey's upset, and here's where he gets it wrong. It's the overextension of the arm. Now, it's a weak penalty, but it's a penalty. Watch as he goes there. He's smart. He doesn't go to ground, but watch the arm on the push-off, just on the back right shoulder. Referee can see it the entire way. Doesn't matter how much contact you made. You can see the arm flail out from the side of the defender. This is real easy to point to the spot, and it's a gift to Loudoun. They could be right back in this.
Mo, 4 goals last year after signing in July. Mo, brilliant penalty. Had Mandanda going the other way. There's a scrum for this afterwards. Loudoun's got a goal. They're right back in it, down 2.
Both of these players, Tyreek Johnson and Mo, open up their hips at the tail end of this. Johnson tucking it in the far post. Mo just pushing it out to his right. Sending Mandanda the wrong direction. It's a beautiful penalty. Adventurous, upper corner. A little bit of life.
Adventurous is one way to put that.
Ryan Martin's on the sideline going, no. Lean over, my friend.
Elvis has entered the building. Nice ball back, Rogers doing his worst Tyreek Johnson impression.
They're definitely not lacking confidence.
No.
The boys from Loudoun. And Hartford Athletic doing the same thing. Arthur Rogers has to play a few more FIFA games before he gets that move down. It's the L1, not right one, buddy.
There's a certain youthful naivety that might exist in players in their teens playing against grown men. So often we hear that when you go to Hartford, you're going to play against men who are out here providing for a family. And that's wildly different than what the experience was at Southampton for new head coach, for some of these Loudoun players. As that unnecessary high arm. Now it's Davey. Davies not making friends on the Loudoun touchline.
There's a lot of intent behind this tackle, Mike. He goes right at the player. I'm going to be shocked if he doesn't get carded, especially it's right in front of the fourth official, in front of both benches. Watch him here. Watch the shoulder. Entire way, right into his face. Should be a card.
Well, you can hear it down on the touchline. That was reckless. Davey spent 8 years in Chelsea's youth setup. Won the Under-21 Premier League, the FA Youth Cup, and left Chelsea back in 2017.
Ryan Martin saying it to the fourth official, by the way. I'm not going to harp on the officials, just say one more thing, it's poor. Gives up a penalty less than 5 minutes ago, and then right in front of you, reckless behavior. Should be a card. And we're moving on.
Till the next time.
There's always a next.
Johnson. Arthur Rogers. Silva. Torres. Barrera. McGlynn signed off an open tryout in December. Swartz. Goal kick. Dewey slid in, and apparently Swartz had it ricochet off him. And some changes coming. Big moment here for the Gabera family. Karen Jennings, the coach at Navy since 1993, World Cup winner, Olympic gold medalist. Tyler's mom, Tyler's dad, Jim Gabera, former member of the U.S. men's national team, and longtime head coach, including for the Washington Freedom and the Spirit, and for Sky Blue FC. So Tyler makes his professional debut, a 22-year-old out of NC State. And RJ Fuentes comes in as well. Luchito, they call him, like Luciano Acosta, but smaller.
Small in stature, but watch him play. He can really fly. Some people may be scratching their heads at home, by the way, on the move with Kudu Pietro to bring him off. Only 16 minutes, but that was expected. We were told by Ryan Martin he's just getting back into the swing of things, so don't be surprised if it's in that 15 to 20-minute window. He was spot on.
Throw for Swartz and Hartford. Each team gets 5 changes, which has become standard as leagues around the world return to play following the shutdown due to the coronavirus pandemic. Johnson. Barrera. Barrera. Dewey. A Mo. Mo hampering the back of Davey. That has been a real battle in this second half.
Wondering as to whether or not, because of the heat and first game back, if Ryan Martin will go for another change in that 9 spot up top. Problem is when you look down the bench, doesn't exactly have the luxury of that out-and-out top quality striker, especially considering the changes he's already made.
Dixon into that slide dangerously. He'll be shown a card, and Williamson grabbing for his right leg.
Deserved, 100%. Alex Dixon's not going to fight it. He's been there before. Former Houston homegrown. Studs up, reckless, right in the center circle, and Brandon Williamson feels a bit different than it did in the ACC, doesn't it, buddy?
I love the conversation I had with Coach Kerr at Duke. Teams who know us well know he's the heartbeat of our team. Gamble, handball, go the other way. Hey fans, you can follow your team and the rest of the USL Championship all season long on ESPN+. It's home to the USL Championship, USL League One, MLS, UFC, and more. Join the nearly 8 million sports fans who've already discovered ESPN+. Watch the championship live every week. Sign up today, ESPNplus.com. Davey getting out before he finds any more trouble. And Alex Lara comes on.
Pretty impressive by Jaidi right now, understanding the game management that needs to take place. Alex Davey had pretty much used up his get-out-of-jail-free cards.
And Danny Barrera comes out. Mass Jorgensen the other way.
Watch him out in space, by the way. He gets the ball 30, 35 yards from goal. Not shy. The 5 he put away between Open Cup and USL Championship play last year, all outside the box, all absolute rockets.
He swings Thor's hammer, no question about that. The way Mass Jorgensen got to Hartford might be the most interesting part. Jimmy Nielsen, obviously well respected, still well connected in Denmark. Got a cold call from Mass Jorgensen. Initially let it go to voicemail. Jorgensen was persistent enough, eventually got Nielsen on the phone. One thing led to another, and Mass Jorgensen is second year with the second-year club. Said on the phone he sounded like a little kid. In reality, much bigger than that.
That's a big boy.
He's a big kid. Jorgensen's still only 21.
You and I always talk about tackles here, what it was like for me. There are very few that I looked at and I'm like, okay, maybe I need to second guess this. Do I need to rethink as to whether or not I go into this tackle? He's probably one that you look at from afar and go, yeah, I'm good right here, boys. You guys are doing just fine on your own.
Swartz, Jorgensen, Swartz, all ball. Pinballs on the clearance. Swept up by Arthur Rogers. Johnson.
You're starting to see the fatigue between the two squads now, Mike. Both teams slowing it down. They haven't been as efficient on the ball. And the pace of play has slowed down as well. And it's easy to look and go, oh, well, the long balls. And I'm talking about just a bit more tiki-taka. We saw a lot more ball movement from A to B to C, so on and so forth in the first half. Now it just seems to be looking for that 20-yard ball, 25-yard ball, case in point. Little outlet pass. And we asked Loudoun to be a bit more expansive in their play, but be smart as well. You know, don't just knock it and hope. The outlets are still there. Instead of knocking this right down the middle, right back to Hartford Athletic, you can come all the way to the near side touchline. And when you're a youngster on this United squad as well, use Ryan Martin to your advantage. You can play over here sometimes, and they can help you, the entire coaching staff. Start to venture to the far side of the field. You don't have that luxury.
Whipped ball low, attempted finish from Dixon. Would have been spectacular.
Nice to see him healthy again.
Yeah.
After last year. He can 100% be the human highlight reel. There's a good little look. Oof. Having fun, free-flowing game. That's what you want. And here's an attack-minded change. Brandon Williamson going to take a seat. And Nelson Martinez an opportunity to come in and see if he can get some things going in the midfield. Wanted some more out of Williamson tonight. Again, when you're asked to play that role within this system, defensively, he just seemed like when he did win the ball, wasn't willing to make that extra step and help out up top.
Dewey advanced up the field. Let's get a second look at this. And look, ultimately the games matter. There's only 16 games in the regular season. Every time you drop 2 points or 3, whether you're home or road, can significantly affect whether you get there or not. With that in mind, Evan, how much of a curve do you sort of put on a team like Loudoun right now, not playing with a full deck, multiple players making either pro debuts or club debuts, whether they be youngsters in their teens or players fresh out of college?
It's massive. The saving grace for them, though, is that there are 2 other teams within their group that are experiencing the same situation. New York Red Bull 2 and Philadelphia Union 2. You and I kind of looked at each other after the Hartford score and went, really? Meaning their trip to Red Bull.
Right.
You kind of turn your head and go, really? John Wolenak, the success that they've had. Then you look at the roster and go, okay, I can see it a little bit. Then you go watch tape and you think, okay, now I fully get it because of all the players that aren't there from that organization down in the bubble. Now you just wonder, when that tournament does end, what do these teams look like when the players start to come back?
That goal kick for Loudoun didn't get very far. Jorgensen shows the run on the left. Rogers had been streaking through. Silva tied up again here.
Still one of the more, we'll say, interesting conversations out of this group so far, chatting with the coaches, Mike. I still go back to Bob Lilly, trying to pull the wool over our eyes, saying, yeah, look at our schedule, look at this, we have to do that. And to be fair, when you look at it, on the road at Louisville,
Yep.
didn't know that was going to go that direction, and they started slow, very, very slow, just a quality finish. Obviously, they follow that up with a 6-0 drubbing at Philadelphia Union 2. And now all of a sudden, you're looking at Wednesday's matchup going, okay, Indy 11 is going to be a heck of a sparring match. But then it's Red Bull, Union 2 again, Red Bull. You know, this could real easily turn into a massive gap for the Riverhounds atop the group.
Pittsburgh will look to, should Hartford win this, regain an advantage points-wise in Group F. 8 regionalized groups in which 2 teams in each group will go through to the playoffs, as opposed to the typical 34-game season, top 10 in each conference. The nature of the game has changed a little bit. The preliminary round won't feature this year. It means in this group in particular, 5 teams, your odds a little bit lower of making it. Nice interchange. Rogers. Lara. Silva. Silva's gonna have a go. Forces Colin Miller to go sprawling out at it. Tia Silva coming in from Orlando, spent time in Kansas City, Reno, and Phoenix.
I take personal offense to this because we were talking up Jorgensen, not Silva. Maybe he heard us incorrectly, or maybe he's been tracking on the training ground. That's not a bad strike from distance. Gotta love the left footers, Mike. Diamonds in the rough. Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay.
I see that look.
Yep. You left-handed too?
Used to be.
Are you ambidextrous now?
I am ambidextrous, yes. I struggle a little bit with writing, to be honest, but whether it's shooting a basketball, throwing a baseball, batting, tennis, both hands. I don't want to, it's just a gift.
Reached a hydration break here. 3-1 Hartford over Loudoun. Impressive performance for a Hartford side coming off a win at Red Bull to open the restart, and a chance now to go to a 2-win start on top of the group.
Leading you in, Mike, when we talked ahead of the curve. Now, it doesn't start from the goalkeeper, and it doesn't start from the back line. It starts from a mentality of, okay, we need to go quick, we need to press, but we need to explode once we do it and go the opposite direction. This is the goal at Red Bull 2 that had everybody's heads turning. Mandanda lengths the ball up over the top. That's an Alisson impression. Is that Mo Salah? Nope. Well done, though. Guzman quality little finish on the road. What a victory that was. And let's follow it back up. Look at this tenacity. Alex Davey, just a clearance. And this is what I wanted out of Loudoun when I said, when you're going to clear this ball, don't knock it down the middle. Put this to the outside and allow your guys up top to make a play. Enter Tyreek Johnson, Hartford Athletic, back post. Take a bow.
That is how you make a play. And that's how you celebrate your first goal with your new club. While we have a moment here, I should mention Hartford Athletic has made such an attempt to be a part of this community from the jump, and they've got a veteran and diversity hiring expo that they've been working on. It'll be occurring soon on the heels of the coronavirus pandemic and the resulting unemployment in the Northeast. And also Shop for a Cause. There are 250 companies in the Hartford area taking part in a food share in the Hartford community. So tremendous credit to the organization and the fans, and ultimately the sponsors and the associated companies for all their work. Here's to a nice big slice of New Haven pizza.
Oh, now you're just teasing me.
Heard rumors, can't confirm.
They're all true, I can confirm. Need to get back up there immediately. Had some fun interchange with the Mad Hat Massive as to exactly
Yeah.
not only which type of pizza, what specific location you had to attend. And I said, listen, guys, girls, I'm in town for 30 hours. Give me a break. I can't eat pizza at every meal, you know? Always open to suggestions, though.
You know, when Lizzie Seedhouse from USL headquarters, who runs the digital properties, came up with the idea, as the offside flag is up here, helped execute a USL E-Cup Rocket League edition shortly after the league shutdown began. Little did I know the experience I would have with these Hartford fans taunting me for thinking New York pizza was better.
That was one of the more nearsighted comments you've made in your career, and you were made aware of it right away.
No, it was perfectly honest. I'm living my truth. Gamble. Gamble finds the opposite end. Martinez. No combination there. Saravia. Chance here from distance. Rings wide. Completely out of nothing there. And don't tell us that we didn't warn you, Mass Jorgensen.
Told you, will unload from anywhere on the pitch. And the more impressive thing isn't just, Mike, the strong leg that he possesses. He's got the vision up to where the goalkeeper is. Because watch when he hits this, watch the keeper. Off the line. Well off the line. Really well done by Jorgensen. No, it doesn't hit the frame. But if if you're going to pull the trigger from there, better make sure that you've got all the variables stacked on your side.
Tyreek Johnson, who scored a phenomenal goal 10 minutes into this second half, give Hartford at the time a 3-0 lead. Michael Gamble, the Wake product, out to Jacob Green. Tabera slid in.
Just play quick here, Mike. Go set real quick. You brought some fresh bodies on, get down into the corner. Don't allow Hartford to reorganize themselves, and look at them. Kudos, they already are. This is a total turnaround from what we saw in 2019. They have legitimately, so far, checked every single box.
Ball crossed and hammered back out. Throw Loudoun. Creative idea. Jacob Green is fouled, won a free kick. Really fancy footwork from the 17-year-old out of the youth academy setup.
Poor Arthur Rogers. How about this one? Forgot something.
Oh,
I'll get it for you. Harry Swartz thought he did, but referee obviously had other ideas.
that's what professionals do when they've been nutmegged. Ball across, attempted bike. All the way out to Fuentes. Martinez. Still plenty of time here. Loudoun pumps the ball forward. What a run. Ball for Dixon. Snared by Miller.
I'm still trying to figure it out, Mike. 9 minutes to go. 7 different athletic players have already progressed over half field, and you've got the room to work with. Why are you slowing down?
Johnson! Miller puts his forearm out, snatches up the rebound. Tyreek Johnson's going to be a real problem this year. Time running down here on Loudoun. Their first game back. Look at this ball. Gamble. Step by Paulitz. Riding the challenge. Gamble, the cut. Fuentes. Swartz still sprinting into the high 80-degree heat. Silva. What a turnaround here for Hartford. They were able to finish this off. 2 wins to start. They won just 2 of their opening 18 games last year. Martinez, Cabrera, Dewey. Dewey sprints, chips.
Mike, this leads me back to what went on in the first half. Sometimes you're frustrated as a player, and you start to wonder in your mind, how do I get this done? But you don't question, well, why am I doing it? Because watch all the work that Gamble puts in here, and then what do you expect out of the substitute? Fuentes just ripping it at him. 3 defenders on his back, 6 yards from goal. So you put in a 20-yard run, farther if you stretch in all the twists and turns that he's put in. A lot of hard work. You've stretched your entire shape, only to knock it across when you've got a standing run outside the top of the 18. This is those times when you need some of that leadership around the field to just calm the thought process down and say, knock it right here, let's go a bit simpler, and then we can start to get back to what we were doing well.
2 players down. Hollitz is back up, and Swartz being attended to as well. Because Swartz was looked at without a card-worthy offense, he'll have to be allowed back on. The USL's elite pre-professional platform, USL Academy, allows clubs across the USL to build a pathway to pro soccer by bringing together top local youth talent. Following the success of the first Academy Cup events, clubs can now apply to participate in the USL Academy League, kicking off spring 2021. For more information, visit usl-academy.com or search hashtag USL Academy on social media. Hartford signing Alfonso Vasquez, high school senior out of Wyndham High School in Connecticut. All-time leading high school goal scorer in Connecticut, 149.
Which is rude, by the way.
Not available for this game, but bagged 4 goals in 6 preseason games. So you're talking about an 18-year-old there. Loudoun is sprinkled with young players. And it's interesting that Ryan Martin initially signed on to be the academy director because there's such a clear understanding on his part. You touched on it in the first half. We want to leave all avenues open. If you want to go into the academia, he still believes college soccer is a valid pathway. Believes, I think maybe that's undervalued now by those in the country who only see the pathway to pro. But you've seen so many USL academies spring up and provide D1 players or players right into the professional system.
Well, the college program is going to take a huge hit this year, given what's going on around the country, because this looked like this was going to be the year where you'd get into that full season. You know, you were going to get a full year of where they were going to vote on it in April, and it was going to go fall and spring season. Sasha Skrovsky, head coach at Maryland, spearheaded that entire movement, and that gives guys an even better understanding, because one of the areas they lack the most is the tactical side. They're playing 20, 25 plus games, running their bodies into the ground in such a finite amount of time, you really don't get proper development.
Aiden Macias has come on. His club debut, former QPR under 23. You and I work a lot in the college sports sphere as well, and we've spoken with a lot of coaches that really believe that's the model to save collegiate soccer moving forward.
It's easy for people to sit back and go, well, we need to change this in this country, we need to change that. It's just different here, so get that out of the way. Myself included, by the way. You and I have had multiple conversations behind the scenes, and I said, you can do this here, we can make that change there. College soccer will never go away. Not going to happen. There are plenty of ways to incorporate that into what's currently in place. And if you're a fan who's just joining this global phenomenon that people have loved for hundreds of years, 150 plus anyway, it's easy to look at big names in the world and go, oh, you know, how about this person in Manchester United? How about that guy at Liverpool? Take Jamie Vardy. Jamie Vardy was not a Premier League player playing at the high level just a few short years ago. This is a guy who struggled to get into top-tier football. You need repetitions, you need positive reinforcement, and give these guys an opportunity to succeed. In the United States, that just could happen to be the the collegiate programs. D1, D2, you name it. Plenty of guys playing right now. MLS USL Championship didn't make their name at a Maryland. They didn't make their name at an Akron. You would like them to, but there are plenty Lindsey Williams, Young Harris's, Lynn Universities out there that have put some quality products
Wait for it. Big save, and another big rebound conceded by Miller. It's cleared off the doorstep. This time it was Arthur Rogers from distance.
There's one, Kentucky Wesleyan, University of Texas, RGV as well. That's not a program that's going to pop off the page, but there's still pedigree there to be had. And how do you really nurture that talent, Mike, and then start to push everybody to the next level? That all goes back to Ryan Martin and this crew that we were talking about, and you know, some of the progression that this country and a lot of programs really starting to get better at.
Service caught by Miller. Played up the road in Providence. For what it's worth, we'll see Pittsburgh on Wednesday against Indy 11. The Hoosier State's always put out a lot of premier talent. Certainly the Indiana Hoosiers have. The run from Macias ends with a foul that'll draw a card. And Lundegaard will go into the book. And for what it's worth, you talk with Bob Lilly about the Riverhounds Academy in Pittsburgh. A lot of players that they put into D1 schools because that's the right next step for them. And then they come right back to Pittsburgh and start their pro career. So a lot of different ways to immerse yourself in that pathway to pro. It's Dewey, rather, who had stepped in. Lundegaard, who had complained. 5 added minutes. Hartford looking to seal the deal here, and yes, Jorgensen could score from here. If he does, they'll hear it in Bristol. Jorgensen, a deflection, a rebound, and Dixon.
The best part of this for me, Mike, watch Jorgensen. Right before he hits this, he looks for the seal of approval from his manager on the sideline. Jaidi turns his head, says, "Go on, son, have a rip." Alex Dixon, on the other hand, had different ideas. How far off is he? Oh, catches a little kiss to the post as well. That would have been the icing on the cake for Hartford Athletic. One has been 2 matches back-to-back now, Mike, where they have to be pretty happy with their performance. Gotten better over the last 180 minutes. And you look at their schedule, what's up and coming. We already gave a bit of praise to the Riverhounds and what that could look like for them, but how about the rest of the group here? Turn the corner on Saturday. Philadelphia Union come to town. Then you go on the road at Indy. That's a tough test at any point in time. And then you're right back here on August 2nd against Loudoun. You could grab 6 points out of that swing.
Well, you could grab 9, but 6 would be realistic.
Easy, yeah.
We're going to learn a lot about Hartford. Should they pick up a 3rd straight win? Trouble in the back. Macias arguing still for a foul. He was right on the cusp of the penalty area. Cabrera picks it up in space. Gamble. Cabrera, the former NC State star. And the cross nodded away. Dixon. Don't look now. If you go back to last year, this will be quite the little win streak that Hartford's put together.
You just going to tease me with the number, or are you going to tell me? I'm right there with you. I knew it was 5. Just wanted to make sure you did your homework.
The new Hartford Athletic indeed. Gamble. That's unfortunate. Offside.
Winning is contagious. I'm sure Ryan Martin can attest to that and what they were able to do at the end of the 2019 campaign. take a look at the guys around Athletic right now, Mike, yes, they made changes, but in the starting 11 tonight, 5 out of 11 were on the roster last year. You've got 7 out of the 18, roughly around 40% of your players that were with this organization last year. So credit to Jaidi of understanding what was already here and how would he best be able to utilize it with the key additions that he was bringing in.
Rogers steps in front of Green.
How about Loudoun? What they're going to have to deal with. A little time off.
Green was enticing and picked off by Mandanda, who's yet to concede in the run of play yet.
We mentioned the game on August 2nd back here. On the road again the 12th, Red Bull 2. On the road again, stop me if you've heard me this before, on the 15th at Louisville. They do get a home game on the 19th against Pitt.
They really didn't at all sound worried about the road swing. Really doesn't seem that it affects their psyche at all.
Ask them again after 5 games how you feel about that.
Full-time whistle. In front of about 1,300, quarter full capacity in Hartford, Connecticut. Dillon Stadium sees Hartford Athletic kick off their home slate with a win. 3-1 over Loudoun.
Really cannot be loud about what they were able to do, Mike. Honestly, this was a total turnaround, collective effort, start to finish. Every area on the field has improved for Hartford Athletic. Ryan Martin and co., they got some work to do, but go back to the home squad. Hats off to this massive effort.
A Mad Hat massive effort. 3-1, Hartford over Loudoun United. We will wrap this one up when we return to the USL Championship on ESPN.
Because we are going to travel back now. It's going to be like this. Take a nap or something, and then you will be here.
There's a lot of smiles in Hartford tonight. The return of their beloved Hartford Athletic. Their second season starts with 2 straight wins, and they're tied on points atop Group F with frontrunners Pittsburgh Riverhounds. And with Devin Kerr, Mike Watts closing up this USL Championship on ESPN Experience. Let's start all the way back in the 3rd minute. Hartford on the front foot from really the jump.
Seems a long time ago, but set pieces, why not? Let's have a little fun, near post run. A lot of traffic, a lot of white shirts, a lot of standing around. Kevin Politz, 2nd professional goal. Don't mind if you do. Harry Schwartz, still, for me, this guy, Mike, and what he's been able to do in his short time as a professional is nothing short of spectacular because he's been asked so much, but he's done so much. 55th minute. Let's go a bit further. 3. Oh, it's so sweet, though. Watch this touch outside. See ya. Sitting on the back line, Adam Lundegaard. You'll learn. He'll get better. He gets flat-footed. He goes square. Watch his hips. Doesn't allow your body to open itself up. Johnson does. 3rd in the back of the net. They would respond immediately. 2 minutes later, go to ground. It is a penalty. Alex Davey, for everything that he has brought to this organization, he does overstep the boundaries at certain points in time. This was one of them. Gets over the backside. Not a lot of contact, but just enough. And a pretty impressive penalty. Ryan Martin holding his breath on the sideline. That was as close as they would get. Athletic would battle back. Doesn't matter. 3 points. Back-to-back wins.
Here are your full-time stats. Very impressive from Hartford. Are they for real?
Ask me next week. It hasn't been enough for me with Red Bull 2 not having a full squad, with Loudoun not having a full squad. It's 2 good performances, but I need a higher quality opponent, or at least a more in-depth roster. Continue what you're doing, continue to get results, and after that game at Indy, we can revisit this topic.
Show you what's coming up. USL Championship on ESPN. Pittsburgh and Indy on Wednesday. Indy again in the spotlight on ESPN Deportes on Sunday. Everyone's excited to see what's brewing there on the Monongahela.
Mike, we haven't even talked about yet the way that the groups break down. This could be an interesting one. E and F play each other in the playoffs. Remember, 1 and 2 from each group play each other. That's the crossover. So, E and F, have a little fun. Indy, Pittsburgh, little prelude, possibly.
So we'll see you Wednesday night on ESPN2, 6 p.m. Eastern Time kickoff. Here tonight, Hartford comes home, and these fans were treated to a real show. What a turnaround orchestrated thus far by Paul Buckle and Roddy Jaidi as they take a 3-1 win over Loudoun to draw level atop Group F. For Devin Kerr, our producer Ava Ponte, Gage Tillotson, our director Eric Falero, our entire Vista World Link team, Mike Watts saying, thanks for watching. We'll see you Wednesday night. This is the USL Championship on ESPN.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League Championship cannot be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the expressed written consent of the United Soccer League Championship.